Welcome, champions! My name is Margaret, and I am coming to you live from the Codename Entertainment Studio in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Before we begin, I'd also like to thank D&D for hosting us on the official D&D Twitch channel. It is and always will be an honor to be here. Shout out as well to Erica and Sasha, helping to co-produce and moderate the stream with me. Now let me bring on Dylan, coming to you live from his home.
I'm unmuted now. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, hello.
Hi. Hello.
My name's Dylan.
You are Dylan.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just making sure that I don't, because I also have the mod window open,
Oh.
so there's like the latency for that. So I have the
Right.
real-time conversation with you over here, and I have the delayed conversation with you over here, and the chat right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
There's a lot of things going on, especially
Yep.
now when we throw Zoom into this.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bold, strange new world.
Yeah, it's fun. See a lot of regulars today. Glacier, Elfgris, Garwar, Lauren, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Owen 10.
Owen. Now the entire company now is like, no, that's
Also known as
Owen.
Aogane.
No, Owen.
Our Green Paradox.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Sean says our music's a little loud. I can't actually
He's
hear
not
our
wrong.
music
Okay.
because it's not going to play through anything for me. I'm listening to my music.
What are you listening to?
I am listening to Sigur Ros's first album from 2000, which is just one of the most beautiful albums I've ever heard that I understand no lyrics in. Highly recommend it.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Very relaxing and just beautiful and melodic, and one of the best albums ever made as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome.
But we don't have the rights to it, so I can't use it for background music. Yeah, Twitch.
It's a thing, but we do own the rights to this, so that's exciting.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like obviously Idle Champions has one piece of music, and there was a time where we seriously considered making more pieces of music until we looked at the data and saw that
everyone plays it.
Nearly all of our players mute the audio just entirely. So we're like, okay, well, it's hard to make a real justified case for making more music. So we scrapped that. And like still sometimes we kind of think back, oh, it would be nice to have more, but it's just not how these games are really engaged. So that's fine. Luckily, one of our previous titles, Shards of Titan, rest in peace. Yeah. We made a soundtrack for it that we still have tracks for. So we put those in our streams. And I know players have asked before whether or not we would release it, and we won't. Just in case we won't be releasing it. Sorry.
We hoard it. You can listen to it on our streams. But,
yeah, that's pretty much the only way. Yeah, F for respects.
Lauren's saying that we need a whole new show where we can just listen to the music. It's like no one talks.
A chill Idle Champions music stream. Yeah, you know what we should do is we should while we're all remote, we should get everybody to record the individual instruments and notes for the actual Idle Champions song, and then put it together like a big horrific a cappella remix of the dun 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 dun. But none of us are sound engineers, so it's not going to happen. Sorry.
No. That would be really fun, but I also see our productivity like nosediving. So it's
it'd be awful.
Like I also I know what's on your to-do list, and you know what's on my to-do list, and I'm kind of like, when do you think we have time?
I don't know. I don't know when I have time. I mean, I don't even know when I have time to do the stuff I get done. Right? Yeah. Like, it's strange to be in one of the industries where we got busier.
Yes. Oh my.
It's not a complaint. It's
no. Thankful for
it's been an adjustment, being not in the office and being at least as busy, if not busier, than you were when you were in the office, when things were easier to do and it was easier to poke somebody and say, hey, what about whatever. So yeah.
There's a request for us to do a cosplay Halloween episode. Everyone dressed like an Idle Champions champion.
I mean, I dressed like one of our familiars last Halloween. I don't know if I'm going to do that again, though. That was hot.
You said it was very uncomfortable to stream in. Your part.
So I was we have a mobile green screen, like a curtain, and it's like a heavy drape.
Right.
And so like the streaming room already gets kind of hot.
Yes.
And so when I pulled that on and like I had the like skull mask and a little animated fire going behind me to be a flame skull, named Murray, and I'm still a little disappointed nobody made a Monkey Island joke in the chat. But anyways, there was just sweat running down my face inside that mask and like dripping and pool. It was awful. It was so hot, which is why I pulled it off so like as quickly as I could really. But it was fun, and to her credit, Erin Evans wasn't distracted by the fact that I looked ridiculous to her. So, yeah.
I mean, Erin Evans is pretty awesome. So, yeah.
She is a wonderful human who is always fun to chat with.
We have some questions. So, Supply215 said asked the Q&A roadmap, said that next week will be the next chapter in Dragon Heist. Is this new adventures or just new variants?
New adventures, yeah. So those who remember how we kind of wrapped up the narrative portion of the Tomb Annihilation campaign, the Tomb of the Nine Gods and the battle with the Serac and the Soulmonger was like it's like the narrative climax, I guess, but it's not the end of that story. Like you went on and you did, another half dozen or so adventures where you eventually wrap up the narrative story arc in Mesro. We have more that we're doing with Dragon Heist, despite the fact that the Vault of Dragons has been discovered and the main arc, I guess, has mostly wrapped up. There's more.
Nice.
Yeah.
But wait,
might even lead
more.
to rescuing somebody who may become an evergreen champion. Ooh. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That sounds like spoilers.
It is. Yeah. It is. I'm channeling my inner Chris Dupuis.
That's reasonable. It is a good thing to channel. We have a question from Elfgris. What are your thoughts about instead of getting a random chest during event free plays at 50 then reset, we could keep going and get a random chest every 50 levels? We could idle a bit more then.
That's a better question for Justin, who can go more in depth with why our like chests and stuff are rewarded in the way that they are. Yeah, it's
that's a Justin thing.
Well, also even just like speaking a little bit hypothetically, like say that was a change that was implemented today and you went into an event free play, players are easily cracking 600 to area 600 to 800 now. Like how many chests is that? And like keep in mind that we do want people to keep playing our game.
Yes.
And we want to find a balance between what they're willing to grind out versus what they're willing to spend money on. And if it was that easy to get chests, nobody would buy them, which would be bad for us. So yeah, it's an interesting thought, and I think that the approach that we took with time gates, giving you an opportunity to get quite a bit more loot for a champion whose event isn't even running, is kind of like a happy-ish medium, but I don't think we're going to change the way that we do our event free plays during the event. You can already get quite a few chests per event.
That's fair. Azaf is asking if we have any plans to add more places to put familiars, drop them on auto progress, drop them on formation shaves, drop them on the shop. I want to put the little guys everywhere. Multi-adventure mode. You'll be putting those familiars everywhere.
Yeah. There will come a moment where you feel suddenly like you do not have enough of them. We don't have an ETA on it, but that's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Sooner than the heat death of the universe.
Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, I'd hate for that event to happen early. We'd look real stupid then.
Yes, we would, Dylan. Yes, we would. Carlo Boyd. How many new adventures and variant are coming next week? Or variants? Or we're going to say we'll wait until...
Yeah, we typically do a pair of adventures and variants for them, which, also translates to however many more variants for each patron. And I don't think we're deviating from that next week.
Oh, I see the raffle is.
Yeah, I saw a chat, and now all I see is cube insurance.
Yep, it's cube insurance. I do have a cube in here with me, but it's thankfully not destroying me.
Oh yeah, the ones that Eric wants everybody to fight over.
But I can't really show it on stream because it's green, which is really
well.
funny.
No, actually, that's actually more accurate, right? Because a gelatinous cube is supposed to be something that you almost can't see, right? Like, them being really obvious glowing green is less common than them being so transparent that an adventurer just like walks into it and then is suddenly being devoured. When I think you're doing it right.
Sure.
It's weird though. It's weird to see.
When we're allowed to ship things again, or that's more relaxed, Eric has put one up for raffle to chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
He's going to give one to everybody who had to deal with the gelatinous cube debacles, right?
I think we'll have there's a stack strangely on my desk, and I'm like, I'm not sure why this is on my desk. I don't want the pitchforks after me, but I think we'll have a CNE roll off for the gelatinous cubes.
I hate the roll offs
because you don't win them, or
I mean that's part of it. I don't. Yeah. I think everybody should have an opportunity to get stuff. I think in this very specific case, there are 4 people who had to actually deal with gelatinous cube insurance, and I think they should be walking away with one either way. Yeah, I mean, I'd like one for my desk, but
yeah, okay.
I don't know.
That was.
I have the leader of the Wild Hunt on my desk at work, so I'm happy with that.
That was a moment. I still remember that vividly, of just like getting there and unpacking the cube and just trying to glue it back together and not being able to glue it back together and being really sleep deprived and just being like, can't get it to stick.
Yeah.
And Eric was grabbing our badges and was like, oh, do you guys need help setting up the cube, or well? And then I'm like, I can't tell him that it's broken over text. I'm like, I think you need to come back to the booth now, please.
Yeah, it's nothing like traumatic memory that just gets etched into your brain. It's so funny because, like, I remember when it was PAX West 2018 was when the idea was suggested to do a cube like that, I think, or was it? Might have been PAX East 2019. Anyways, like Alexis made the idea, and we're like, and then like as PAX West approaches, like, well, we could do one. And I contacted some friends of mine, and they're like, that's weird, but I think we can do it. And a lot of improvisation later, and some real late nights on their part. They didn't really charge us for labor for it. Like, it seemed like it was an expensive thing, but the labor hours went way over time because they just because of the heat molding process for the acrylic,
right? And
they basically had to invent in like one of their side studios, like they made a kiln for it. Anyways, the whole thing was an interesting journey, and like I'm glad that it got to live through one event nicely. But I was sad to hear that it died in shipping.
Yeah. That was time. Like,
I mean, it could be worse. You could have had nothing for your booth show up, right? Like,
like you did at PAX East last year.
Yeah, PAX East 2019. And we were lucky that like we were working with our friends at Table Titans, and they had a 20 by 20, but we were working with a bunch of other groups. So like Game to Grow was there, I think, was one of them, and Keith Baker's company, that's name is escaping me right now, makes a couple board games, one of which I was really interested in, but that was the one that sold out on the first day, so I never bought one. That's life. I was also like, I don't want to bring a lot of stuff in my luggage because my luggage is already pretty packed. And then the Table Titans also had what's their board game called right now? It has like the raddest minis. I'm forgetting the name of it right now. Sorry guys, but anyway, so it was like we had a pillar, and they, like, Corey on the phone lined up somebody who overcharged for reprinting all the signage because he happened to have the files for the signage on his laptop, and a full day of Target and whatever other stores we were at later. They were up until 2 a.m. remaking the booth, and like it looked very similar to what it was supposed to look like. Only it was, it barely made it through PAX. Like it was seriously falling apart. But we did it. But did it. I mean, like some of their stuff showed up, right? Like 2 of the 3 skids made it, and it was the one that didn't was the one that had all of the Idle Champion stuff in it, like all of our things that we were going to give away, but then also the booth. And then but like Utilikilts at PAX East last year, nothing showed up,
right?
So they had a vacant spot, and they weren't the only ones who had that problem, because it was the flooding in the American Midwest last year disrupted shipping a lot, and a lot of containers just didn't make it. So yeah, events are fun.
Events are
what
fun.
Can I say? Yeah,
I look forward to being able to do them again
someday. Yeah, cubeless events in the future. Yeah.
So Cree 3737 is asking for a quality of life recommendation. When it says challenge completed, I click on the patron and I don't remember which one I was working on. So maybe a highlight for new challenges completed.
That is a good idea. Yeah. I mean, make a note, I guess.
Yeah. Let the people decide things.
Yeah. And hopefully it's not one of those requests that seems super easy and ends up being like a nightmarish amount of dev time to implement. So they're just like, no.
Or
because that sometimes happens.
Do you see like Peter reaching for his pitchfork?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Peter's real busy.
Hence the pitchfork. So TVR John Tax. Sure. Will Calliope ever get her +1 int feat?
I mean, how do I talk about feats? So the intent so far with feats is not to make it so that there is a way to make every champion viable in every type of scenario. That said, the ability score feats became a lot more relevant with some of the patrons than they were before. Certainly the intellect ones are popular for the Strahd variants. So, I know that there are more plans for more feats on the horizon, but being specific about which ones, it's not really something we can get into yet. Yeah.
That's fair. Michael Yose is asking for more coloring sheets, and
we have a lot of coloring sheets.
Yes, some are planned. I'm about to submit a small list to Chris, so we'll see how that happens.
Oh, good. Yeah. Coloring sheets are cool.
Yeah. So Dark Dragon is asking, Idle Champions has a lot of neat mechanics, familiars, formation strategy, the blessings, perks, etc. Which is each of yours favorite aspect or mechanic of Idle Champions?
Yeah, what's your favorite part of the game?
I'm going first.
Yeah.
I like the formation strategy part of it. It's kind of like a puzzle to figure out, and sometimes it's like you can do something to find a really optimal formation, or it's like, okay, you can set sort of rules for yourself, or rules that the patron set, being like, you can't use this, or this. Now what do you do? So that's my favorite part. And I like seeing all of the crazy formations that appear in the events, as opposed to, like, I feel like the main campaign formations are sane, whereas some of the event formations, I'm like, how do I like even?
This one?
Yeah.
This one is whack. I think the formation strategy is probably my favorite part as well. Like, I like blessings, but it's just incremental power increases, and the patron perks are also incremental power increases, and that gives me something to work towards. But the part that I have the most fun with is like when we have a new formation, I'm like, all right, I don't know how to do an Artemis or Archon formation with this setup. And so, I get more enjoyment out of trying to figure that part out than just about anything else.
That's fair. Rival Evolution is asking, could you add a break for the adventurers every 100 areas or something? They could all sit around a campfire and eat various different foods in my imagination. As cool as that sounds, we got a lot of pressure to add the skip campfire button at the end of the adventure. I think there would be a small revolt if we added internal campfire scenes, but that'd be really fun to do.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and like I get narratively and thematically why you'd be interested in like having a rest area. I mean, certainly when you're playing D&D, you take rests
and use like snacks to grant, a speed boost or something.
Yeah.
But that'd be really cool.
Especially because like you idle a lot of this game. When you're idling it, is it going to stop there? I don't know. I can't think of a way that it fits in, but I conceptually think it's kind of neat. I guess is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be fun, but I can see some people reaching for their pitchforks. Banana Nana Joe is asking for an ETA on Ruqiah.
Ruqiah, an ETA? I can't give you an ETA, but you'll certainly get some hints about that
soon.
Yeah.
That was nicely in unison.
Soon.
High five.
Soon.
And we have a question if we can make the background mice and bats less cute so I can click them more. I don't think so.
Yeah,
you think they're cute.
I mean, we're killing basically cute puppies right now.
Yeah, which is a little bit horrendous, but
Yeah. Look at those Fae and beasts drop. Ruthless. Yeah.
Yeah. Our expired familiar is coming available again soon.
So the ones that got retired with old DLC packs and stuff?
Probably. I would assume that they would appear in wild offers.
I think that they can.
Yeah.
I don't think everything can.
No.
That's a really good question for Chris, since he manages all the the DLC and the scheduling for stuff, when things are coming out and when things are getting retired, and also when they're in discounts and all that stuff. Like, he manages all of that as part of his responsibilities as the live service director. So I don't have any information to share on what the plan is with familiars that have been retired. I can say that it is something that has been an active discussion lately.
Yes.
But being remote, I'm not confident that I'm entirely in the loop on where the decision has gone based on that.
Evil Emperor Zerg has just said that they picked up the pseudo dragon from a wild offer. So
okay, so at least the first retired ones are there. Yeah, I think the Iris Beholder has been in there as well.
So there we go. Dukal is asking, are there any plans to add more multiplayer support, like traversing a larger dungeon simultaneously with a friend's team that's split up, but you share rewards at the end, like a team effort? Unlikely. We're pretty single player, but glad you want to play with your friends. So.
Yeah, I mean, I love multiplayer as much as the next person, especially right now. But it's not something that we're looking to do. Yeah, the closest thing to playing with other folks are, the integrated community events, like what we did with High Rollers, Rogue's Gambit, where you could, as a community, generate dice for their live play. But beyond that, I don't think we have any plans.
That's fair. Oh, Garwar has a follow-up question, and I knew it was coming. be interested to know how the gold from bounty contracts is calculated.
Oh. Yeah, I have
Yep.
no idea. That is a 100%
This is-
Justin question.
Oh,
And
no.
I imagine...
I asked before stream because I knew this was coming.
Oh, did you? Okay, yeah. Good, because I don't know.
Okay, so it uses your most recent gold earned from killing monsters, averages over the last few monsters, and then multiplies out by time. But it does not include gold collected from click damage or familiars. And that applies to silver chests as well.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The more you know.
Yeah, I wonder if Justin had to look that up, or if he remembered it off the top of his head.
There was discussion. And there's some code that was posted, and I'm like, yes, that's code.
Huh. Neat.
Yeah. Grower has another question. Why do Strahd's tier 4 perks only have 20 increments, unlike both Mert and Raja, who have 40 increments? Everything else about Strahd's perk increments matches the other two patrons.
Honestly, it's probably, and like Justin did this, so I can't answer 100% without it being him. But I know that we like changing it up so that we're not copy pasting things on a regular basis. Like, it's also one of the reasons why the leveling up of champions varies pretty wildly from champion to champion and the slots and stuff like that. Like, it's so that it's not always the same. So that would be my guess there.
Renegade 9,900 is asking, are we ever going to see one of the greatest priests, Catterley?
That's an interesting question. I can confirm that they are not coming in the next 4 months or so, because many of the champion slots for the rest of 2020 are already decided. Yeah, it's interesting because like there are a lot of there's a pretty massive legacy of heroes in the Forgotten Realms that we could potentially add to the game, and without a lot of feedback from our players about who they want to see, like Artemis Entreri is a character that we've been getting requested since day one.
Yes,
and one of the reasons why we held off on him as long as we did was because we wanted to make sure that we could design a character that did. Design a champion that did that character justice, and a lot of other really heavily requested characters are ones like Mordenkainen and Elminster, and some of the other absolutely godly powerful uber mages that have shown up in various things. There's a lot of there's a lot of potential characters, a huge amount. I can't give you a specific reason why a specific character hasn't shown up. What I can say is that a lot of what dictates who comes when has to do with how things line up behind the scenes, in terms of what our needs are and when, and agreements with the multiple parties that we work with. Because like even if we already have access to a character, like Krydal, we would ideally like to work with the person who is, chiefly responsible for Krydal and Krydal's character, if we can. In this case, Jim Zub, and so, we like to do that with as many of the characters as we can. So there's a lot of factors behind the scenes that kind of shuffle them around. It's not that we want to take 2 years for all the characters of a particular group to join the game. It genuinely does take nearly that long to have it work out with the production schedule and everything else. So yeah, I mean, if there are more characters from books and other D&D games, etc., that you really want to see, let us know. Yeah.
Yes, let us know. So Cranrook is asking, how did the cube break? Baggage handlers, mail fiasco. It suffered cold damage.
Yeah, basically, hey?
Basically. It was likely that it was winter and went from somewhere really cold to somewhere less cold, and cold damage. Shattered. Yeah.
Yeah, because it would be super resistant to heat based on the way that it was made.
Yeah.
But
But
because like that would just warp it, so it would have had to have gotten cold and then suffered some kind of impact or something. Yeah. Makes me curious what they did to ship it, because like it was bundled, like it was safely braced and bundled, so it had to be so cold. I don't know if they just put it in a jet that went super high or what. I don't know, but yeah, cold damage.
So sad.
Press F for respects.
Online 92 and Lucas Galby are asking for a visualization of the gold chest counter for each chest to be accessible without having the chest. So to be able to design which time gauge to choose next.
Yeah, I mean that's
been
unlikely,
requested.
I think, but I mean we could pass that request along. There are a lot of chests. There's one for each event champion, and then there are one for each weekend promotion, and a number of other special ones. Like there's a lot of chests.
Yeah.
So
I know when I'm going through the list when I'm making like a code for the stream or something, it's like, okay, so this is a year 2 champ, and just like trying to find them there are a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, you are being requested as an Idle Champions character.
What? Why? I'm not that interesting.
I would disagree, but yeah.
Well, thank you. But I don't know. I'm no more than Kanan. I'll tell you what, though, if you do make me a chronologist wizard, because they appear to be just bullshit overpowered wizards. Oh man, not that you wouldn't expect that from time magic, but yeah.
Dylan, the master of hats. But no,
Master of hats?
Your hat is not a hint this week for the hidden code.
No. What, like, if you want to see what it says, I can lean in. Is that showing up better for people?
Oh. Okay. There we go.
I feel like there's a fair number of our players who know where I got this hat. Yeah. I just saw it. I'm like, I like that hat. I want it. And then I ordered it, and it took a while, but it showed up.
Yep. Sean is very, very jealous. So,
I mean, Sean, you can order a hat. It will show up. But we were, Catherine and I have been waiting. I wanted to get her one of the Not the Greatest Detective Agency t-shirts, and they were sold out for a long time. And so I waited until like that was available and the hat was available. And then I got Caleb's shirt. Just got it all at once.
Where we know. So I'm getting some more specific requests for coloring sheets. The Vampire Caddy Brie and more Companions of the Hall, like one for each of them, and then like a compilation shot, which could be fun.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I could have sworn we've done all the Companions of the Hall as coloring sheets, but maybe we haven't.
We'll check.
It's hard to keep track. There's lots of them.
Death 01 would like Dylan as a skin for Warden.
I mean, only if it's Warden like crudely wearing my flesh. That would be cool. It's like a draped face hanging off its mask with like the facial hair and a hat, and like it's like a half-assed gory disguise. That'd be cool.
Okay. That's
well, because if it just looked like me walking there, that'd be weird. But
But like gory Dylan seeing your own, corpse is totally cool. Your cartoon corpse.
Yeah. Gotta wear that flesh. It's making me think of some weird old horror movies. But anyways, probably not what we should be talking about.
Probably not.
Yeah.
There's some more speculation on feats. Cassius is wondering if we're able to get feats that shift a character's alignment.
So I guess the only thing I can really say about that is like the beauty of feats is they allow an additional layer of customization to all of the champions that offers a lot of area that we could explore. That being said, like we don't have any major plans for overhauls or additions to the feat system right now. I was literally talking to Chris about this the other day because I was asking him about it. But there's a lot of opportunity there that we recognize is there. But like nothing even remotely concrete to share, which is one of the reasons why we don't talk about it a lot. So, yeah. Yeah. That's work for Warden to Buffalo Bill a Dylan Gore suit. Yeah, that's basically it. Who else has seen Silence of the Lambs?
Really disturbing mental image. I'm sorry, but
yeah. Well, maybe Warden captures me and keeps me in the bottom of a well, and feeds me a lot for a while.
Puts the lotion on the skin, Dylan.
Yeah, puts the lotion on its skin. Oh man.
Supply is asking, when making Strahd patron requirements, did you guys realize that intelligence is often a dump stat in 5e? I personally like that it feels harder, but I feel like it's a side effect from something I've seen in games that they DM all the time.
Yeah, you know what I find interesting about that actually, just as a sort of anecdotal thing is, I find it rare that players who use their dump stat RP as if their dump stat was that low. Like, yeah. I know that point buy only allows you to go to 8 intelligence, which is like, slightly below average, so somebody can just more or less be themselves if they want. But it's really easy to like, oh, my dex is super low. Yeah, I've got a bum knee or something,
yeah,
whatever. But like, it doesn't lower your movement speed by an amount for each point lower that your dex is or something, right? Like, there's, I don't know.
Or like,
I guess it's a game to game kind of thing. But yeah, intelligence is not a heavily utilized stat. I would have thought that like bards would use int instead of charisma or something. Charisma makes sense, but it's just wizards and eldritch knights and what is it? Trickster rogues. Nice. So it's just kind of, it's not like charisma, which is the stat for all the bard classes, sorcerers, warlocks. Paladins, which make it super easy for them to multi-class into each other. So, and artificers. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Artificers also use intelligence, which makes me happy. I'm glad because I like artificers a lot. One of my players is playing an armor artificer in the Descent into Avernus game I DM, and certainly at lower levels they seem really, really powerful. I don't know how well that carries on as they level up, but.
Or I also find it interesting is like when the DM puts in a puzzle and the person who's like playing a barbarian is the one that's really into puzzles, and then they struggle sort of like narratively because they're like, I can't be this into this in character.
Yeah. So I've always found that part of D&D kind of odd. Like, I was playing through the Tomb of Annihilation for much of last year. Like we were just like, when we played, we were finally making our way through the tomb. And like we get to the puzzles, and like sometimes you're just having a night where like you're tired and you can't think and you don't care, and like that your character is intelligent enough that if they're there they would figure it out. But like you're just like, I don't care. I don't the puzzle part right now does not matter to me. Like unless somebody cares, like can we just roll and see how long it takes our characters to figure it out? Whereas sometimes you're just like, it's the only thing that you want to do, and it's a lot of fun for the group. So. And when barbarians figure out puzzles, you're like, come on, man, like
no. Well, yeah.
So it's kind of it's a fascinating thing, and like when I do like giving out inspiration when players role play their ability scores well, though.
They make good choices.
They do it fun.
Yeah.
Orca leader is right. Low intelligence does not mean dumb.
No.
Yeah.
It's true. So a distant stranger is asking it will ever be possible for players to make their own champion, and that's unfortunately highly unlikely, just because of the way that the game is. But we understand the want.
Yeah, it's just not something that really fits in with the way the game is designed.
Oh, Finian Burrows is asking, what is the Havilar dress situation? Okay.
I can't answer that. That's all you.
That's a me question. Let's see. Nope. Still none. Still none.
You gonna hit your pity timer on that one?
Probably.
How do you have
I think I'm already
950 gold
there.
chests?
Huh?
How do you have 950 gold chests?
I have hoarding problems. It's like, well, you know how we joke how, like, there's some people that hoard their potions, and I'm like, I don't even want to open my chest. I'm like, no, it's my chests. It's my, like, emergency fund.
Huh.
Yeah. Which it's actually really not a good thing for me to do, because there could be, like, shinies or feats in there that would be really helping me, but that's one of my irrational hoarding problems. So, yeah. Thanks for that.
I'm just gonna go into your account and delete the chests and just award you with all the loot. Just like fill up everything so that you have nothing left to hunt. You have everything, and just completely destroy your need to play the game. I'm kidding.
So
God, that would be so
mean.
much work. You're logging, you're like,
So
I have
mean
everything.
thing, but why?
Well,
but
what? There's no meaning to my gameplay anymore. I have it all.
That would be so bad. Like, Sean already
give you some
threatens
arbitrarily
me.
háhigh amount of favor too, like you've got like E200 favor, you know, like.
Sean already threatens to go into my game.
I mean, that's what happens when we all have access to do that, right? Yeah. Apparently, you're a dragon.
Boss man would be the one to know, I guess.
He would. Nobody
Yeah.
hoards like Eric. Have you seen his coin collection? Oh man, I'm still surprised he gave some of those gold dragons to people in the office when we got back from the stream of many eyes, because he's like giving one to each person. Looks at me, he's like, I'm not giving you any because you've already got some. And then like he's got this bag of them, and he's like, these ones are mine. It was Eric is more of a red dragon, I think, than most.
Oh, Owen wants me to open all servers until my evergreen characters have shinies. I'm like, I could, but it could also just be, you know.
Yeah,
hoard
or you
them.
could just leave them. Yeah.
Hoard them all.
You could not open any of it. You could just hoard your loot.
It also makes
and
me
kill
really...
any adventurers who get near it.
And I also like everything to be a multiple of 10. So it's like if I get chest, I'm like, no, I need to open it back to a multiple of 10.
Okay,
50.
so if you clicked on your little inventory icon and it showed all your potions and everything right now, are they all rounded off to different numbers?
Sometimes they are.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
Don't get me wrong. I do that.
Yeah.
Like all of mine are.
Oh,
are
that's
multiples.
really upsetting. But I don't want to use like.
Yeah.
4, because I can do a multiple of 5. That would be acceptable.
Yeah. But all of mine are set to.
Yeah.
They round off to either 10 or 50 or 100.
Oh, I have one. Oh no, I just need to fix that.
I
right
like
now.
them all to look the same. I don't keep any blacksmith contracts. I just use them all.
That's fair. I should probably do some of that, but.
But this is going to mess up your potion numbers now.
I know, but well, I could use 7 small blacksmith contracts.
Yeah, the ones that you're not even
on artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when you had to click on these one at a time? Oh man.
That was before my time, Dylan.
Oh, was it? Oh,
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, that quality of life improvement was great. That was a good one. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to stop
skipping all the way
doing
back
this.
to the very beginning where I was talking about Sigur Rós. If you could have any intro music for the show when you were booting it up, like when you're like, this is Margaret's episode.
Mm-hmm.
What is your intro music? Or even better, what is your WWF or WWE ring entry music? Like when you come out and you're just ready to kick some ass. Like, what is it? It's German electronic music, isn't it?
No, because like that goes on for like hours. I
I don't know. That's a really good question. Like, what would be my, like, pump-up music?
Yeah. What music is playing, like, right as the stream starts? You're just like, you're all jazzed up.
I'm all jazzed up? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Probably not jazz.
No. For some reason, all I can think right now is, like, Queen's Radio Gaga, but I'm not sure that's...
Oh, Radio Gaga. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. That would be... Oh, I have my inventory open.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones that I never really liked until I heard/saw the live performance one from Live 8 or whatever it was. Because they did such a killer version of it. Well, it's the audience that did it. Freddie Mercury played that audience well. Cool.
What would be yours? I'm really curious.
It would fluctuate between different heavy metal tracks. Big fan of For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica. Maybe yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah, that's fair. Ooh, people are asking for hints on the secret test codes. I will say one has to do.
You made secret codes this time?
Yeah, I made 2.
What'd you make? You
One,
made 2?
One for Caddy B and one for Spurt.
Oh. These are like actually pretty good secrets.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, there's one for each. Metallica is not heavy metal. So Metallica, before 1990-91, I would say was heavy metal. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Gramstead gets it. Pre-Black Album. Yeah.
No.
I certainly would not call modern Metallica heavy metal.
No.
It's I remember when I saw them live. God, it was a while ago. They were promoting an album that I hated, so that of course meant that they played a ton of that album live. And like, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and the friend that I went with wasn't a huge fan of it. But we're there and we're in the mosh pit, and we're just kind of like, it's still kind of fun. But like, we're like, wow, this audience is young, right? Like that's the thing, like, because Metallica's been around for a while now, so they're playing the newer songs, and this young audience is like super into it. And we're just like, man, this sucks. But luckily, like right at the end of the set, they started playing, their hits, like some of the stuff that they're really known for, and we were into that. And their encore opened with their cover of "Am I Evil," which apparently they hadn't played live in like 30-something years at that point. And it was awesome. That was the highlight. "Am I Evil" live by Metallica was absolutely killer.
It's always really weird the first time you go to something.
Banana Nana Joe, Saint Anger? ? Yes, that was the tour. Yeah, Saint Anger did not like that album. Not for me. Didn't really like anything after the Black Album, and I like the Black Album, but it feels more like a heavy metal western than it does like just like old school heavy metal music. Like, you could tell that they watch a lot of cowboy movies with the Black Album.
Yeah, I know. I still think it's really weird when you go to something and you're like, wow, a lot of people here are really young. And when you first have that moment, you're like, huh.
You know what, though? There's an easy way to have the inverse feeling. You go see a band like when I went and saw, oh God, what was his name? George Thorogood. George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And like, they're all old farts at this point. And like, this is probably 10 years ago, but like still, they're old farts. And like, me and my buddy were by far the youngest people in the audience. Like, we were sitting in the second row on the floor. And there wasn't anybody in like seeing distance who didn't have gray or silver hair.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So we felt real young. And George Thorogood still puts on a great show, and like will still like mercilessly flirt with the ladies up front, jumping up and down, even though they're, they were probably his groupies 40 years earlier. Same people, but yeah. No one bald. You know what? Surprisingly, I didn't see a lot of bald people, Dave Modi. I just saw like lots of white and silver hair. So I don't know. I guess just lucky.
There you go.
And also, he was great live. Yeah, really good.
Blasphemer is asking, since future events will drop the year 1 champs, will trust opportunities for them diminish? And Giant Dwarf is asking related questions. Will the year 1 champs be removed out of the pool from the weekend chests once year 4 rolls out?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's a discussion we've had yet.
Oh.
So that would be a good one for when we get closer to year 4 events, and
Yeah.
we can actually bring Justin on stream to talk about those things.
Oh, Eric's leaving.
Yeah.
Bye, Eric.
Goodbye, boss man.
Bye, Eric. Yeah, because it's like, as I understand it now, and this should be taken with a grain of salt. I don't think any of the older chests, any of the weekend chests, etc., that already have year 1 characters in it, are going to lose them. Because I don't think that's how it works on the back end.
Right.
But, is any of that going to change with year 4 events? That's a great question for when we actually get close to year 4 events. Yeah.
Which is sooner than we... It's not that far away,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
People talking about different years of heavy metal.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when I went and saw Metallica, just to go back to that for a second,
Yes.
God, who opened for them? Somebody who,
Enlighten us.
oh God, they were awesome. What's that?
Enlighten us, please.
No, I need to look it up
Okay.
because
Yeah.
it was another metal band that was actually like on it. They absolutely kill it, but for some reason right now I can't remember who it was.
Is it like when you're in class and so you get called on and you're like, no, I know the answer
No,
to
well,
this, I'm
so
just panicking?
the opening act changes for some dates on tours.
Mhm.
Like, it looks like Madly in Anger with the World Tour. Was that the one? They had Godsmack open some dates, Lost Prophet, Slipknot, Datsuns, Vaders. No, that doesn't sound right. God, who opened for it when they played in Vancouver?
I don't know.
Because they were awesome, but it wasn't Godsmack. Oh, maybe it was
Yeah.
Godsmack.
There you go.
Maybe I'm just old and I don't quite remember it.
We'll blame it on your lack of sleep.
I caught up a bit on sleep.
That's good.
That was nice. Maybe it was Godsmack. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Godsmack. Right. Yeah. Okay, now I remember. God, yeah, they killed it. They were so awesome.
Mhm.
And I find that happens a lot with heavy metal bands. Is like the opening act is somebody who is like harkens back to like what the band used to be like, or like the intensity that they used to have. Yeah. I am not in Vancouver. No. Do the Headstones still play out here? Yes. Even though they like broke up and retired for a while, they did come back to Vancouver with the what was the release of that album called? The one with Been This Way for Years. And they played 2 shows back to back at the Commodores. The only time I've ever been to a show where they played one song to open, and it was from the new album, and then for every other song for the next 2.5 hours, Hugh Dillon, the lead vocalist, would just lean out into the audience and shove the mic into somebody's face, and they would say the name of a song, and by the time they finished saying what it was, the band would be playing it.
Oh, that's
like,
really cool.
No counting in or nothing, just boom, they're playing it. Like, it was awesome. Absolutely fantastic live band, the Headstones. If you're into, kind of like, I guess, punk rock is probably the closest thing that they are to these days. Anyways, yeah, awesome live band. If you're in Canada, I don't even know if they tour the States much these days. Yeah.
Well,
Billy G has met Hugh Dillon. Cool. Yeah. He seems like a sharp dude. Surprisingly good actor when he shows up and stuff. Yeah. He made that documentary a while back that was about like the mock punk band where he blows his own head off at the end. It was interesting.
Ooh. And well, we have a request for the more music in game, so.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
a conversation we should have again.
I mean, we could. Hardcore Logo. Yeah, that's the name of the movie. That was good. Yeah, I always thought that Hugh Dillon would be a bigger actor than that, but just kind of shows up on some TV shows and occasionally in films playing a jerk. He plays a jerk really well.
Oh.
But he's a better actor
I
than
hope
that.
it's okay. I'm like, I hope this isn't like typecasting or.
Well, he's got a very intense personality, and he plays intense personalities very well. So, yeah, somebody's talking about Flashpoint, that like SWAT type show that was in like Toronto, and he was all right in that. But he just tends to be intense in everything, because I think that's what he gets hired for. He gets hired for his intensity, as opposed to somebody seeing what his talent is as an actor. Because in Hardcore Logo, he was really amazing, and I was like, somebody could grab him for something really good from that. So I don't know, didn't happen. Anyways, Sean Bean always dies, just like Spurt. Yeah.
Right. Oh, people are asking for hints for the secret codes.
Hints for the secret codes. Caddy Breeze is, what is it? Caddy Breeze code is 12 digits and is about her relationship with another companion of the Hull.
I thought it was 16.
Is it 16?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 16. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's 16.
Yeah. I'm like pretty sure it was 16, but
yeah, looks like they're both 16.
Yes.
And Spurts is yeah.
Is descriptor noun.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that one without spoiling it.
See, this is one of the problems because you made the hidden combination list, and then I'm supposed to give hints on it. And giving hints on the way someone else has created is kind of like, okay.
Well, I mean, I thought you'd just spoil it. Isn't that how you?
Thanks, Dylan. Thanks.
No, but you're right. It's like you were not there for how my brain puked that out.
Like,
so
I figured
I don't
it
know
out.
what he was thinking.
I figured it out, but now I can't like say that because that would break all of them.
Yeah, and some of them are really easy, and some of them are really hard. And how many are left?
Oh,
not a huge number.
One. They got Brenor's daughter.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, like, it's not like we can outthink a hive mind, so we have to be careful with the hints that we give.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to approach it in a different way. So, yeah. Well, anyways, there's another one for Spurt, and I can't think of a way to not spoil it outright. So, yeah.
Oh, and Blasphemer is asking, like, how do the secret codes work? Are there hints in chat? So there's sort of two pools of secret codes. There's the large list that Dylan made at the beginning of the year, which has been mostly discovered, but there are still a few that haven't.
I'm not sure how many are left. Actually, I haven't checked.
Really, not that many. People keep asking me for codes, and I have not for codes, for hints, and I have to like make sure that I'm not giving a hint for one that's already been discovered. And then I typically make one or two a stream, because it's fun.
Yeah.
I still feel bad about the time that I gave them hints for a code that they knew about already for 3 weeks. But yeah.
The hidden combinations are interesting in that there was intentionally low-hanging fruit, and then there was like the difficulty scales up, and then they start to get kind of, I don't know, esoteric. But what I found really fascinating about watching players tackle it was they made some assumptions right from the get-go that they stuck with that were wrong. So have also prevented them from finding some of the codes. So we'll see.
Mavar was asking, how do I get this many supply chests? Someone went into my account once and awarded me a bunch of supply chests.
That wasn't me, actually. That would have been Sean.
No, that was it. That was you.
Oh, was it me?
Yeah.
I don't remember doing it. I don't remember it being that many.
And it was more than that, and I still feel weird using them because I haven't earned them.
I mean, I could remove them if you want.
No, they're mine. I'm hoarding them.
Okay. I can add a few digits to it if you want to feel like I'm more of a hoarder.
What, like
26,900.
Margaret's Dragon Idol Champions.
Yeah. 29,999. And then every time you log in, I'll reset it back so that it's never a flat number with zeros across. How obnoxious would that be?
Are you trying to tell me something, Dylan?
No.
Like,
it bugs me the
stop
same way.
working on Idle Champions, go work on Crusaders.
What? No. I need to see what my chess totals are on my account, actually. I'm just loading that up on another screen here.
Kendi is asking, new player here, will there ever be more to the little distractions, rats, bats, and bugs?
So, it used to be a very limited thing. We only had a couple of them. And then we did a sort of additional distractions section added to one of the updates and just dumped a ton more in. I don't know that we have plans on our calendar to do more of that. But it's always a possibility, especially because we like our distractions to be at least relevant to the areas that they're in. And, we haven't been everywhere there is to be in the Forgotten Realms. So more of them could show up. And that's probably the most I should say about that, actually.
Okay. Oh, Supply is asking, have I ever thought of giving fake hints just to drive you guys crazy? I wouldn't do that because I'm a softie.
I wouldn't do that either. That's mean.
What I would do is just create my own secret list of codes and not tell you about them. And then, so if you find something, it's you don't know if you found pigs 1, 2, and 5. And it's are there more? Is there actually 10? Were there only 3?
So the only thing you would do is instill a huge amount of doubt into them about what they've already done?
Because I'm that kind of evil.
Wow, that's mean.
So, not a fruitless quest, just to wait, how many secret codes are there? Because it's okay, there's 40, but what if there isn't? And
oh no.
Yeah.
Well, there were 20 and 20 last I checked, because all the other ones I expired at the beginning of the year.
So that's my version.
Well, there could be more.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, but I'm kind of tempted to at this point.
Oh, you haven't done it yet?
No. Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe a little bit.
We've talked about it, so now does it even really exist? Is there an extra Margaret's list of secret codes? Is there one? Hypothetically?
You would have to make sure that so the reason that they can tell that one of them is from the 20 and 20 is that because they all give 2 of a chest.
Right. Yeah.
So it would have to be something different than that. Otherwise, they're going to assume that it's from that list.
Or
and it's not from that list.
Or if I could just put half of them with 2 chests, just to continue this,
Or maybe they're progressively more difficult philosophical puzzles, and they start with 1 chest, but then the second code has 2, and the third code has 3, and the fourth code has 4, and it goes up to 10.
That sounds like a lot of chests. But yeah.
It is, but they're so difficult to get that you would need at least a master's, right, to figure it out. You could work on it with Dexter.
Yeah, could be the philosophy crew. I remember when we were traveling, Dexter and I ended up going deep into moral relativism versus moral objectivism, and Eric and Alexis were just stop. Just stop. Yeah.
Now, do you find, actually, just on that note, because you guys took very different routes to get to
places.
Not the same place, but a roughly equivalent place, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Is it even because you learned a bunch of other languages and pursued it overseas, and he did not. So do you find that makes a huge difference?
Not really. So for my philosophy undergraduate, I did a major in philosophy, just analytic, straight up regular philosophy, and then a major in classics. So I still had to do a lot of the modern stuff there. And then, so if we're talking about ancient versus modern, then obviously I'm going to be way more comfortable talking about ancient philosophy, but I can still hold my own in like analytic philosophy conversation. But yeah, like philosophy is a pretty broad field, because it goes anywhere from like epistemology, metaphysics, logic, ethics. So yeah.
I've never actually. So one of my friends has a PhD in philosophy, and I've never asked him about it.
It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah. But I've always been kind of curious, but like also not curious at the same time, because I see all the books that were sitting beside, like,
oh gosh,
the books that were beside the toilet in the bathroom. I'm like looking at those. I'm like, I don't want to read any of these. Good
yeah.
Lord.
No, they're a
lot of reading.
The books in my house are kind of, like it's like the complete works of Plato is sitting next to the complete works of Aristotle, and sitting next to like a huge like Greek lexicon and like a book just on Greek grammar. But yeah.
I have the last 2 books from The Witcher here. No, my shelf is a lot of sci-fi.
There's also a lot of that too. It's just I can't quite get rid of my school books because we've been through a lot together. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hear you. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. Michael USA's Greek grammar guaranteed insomnia cure, because yes, you need to know that for the genitive of military accompaniment, that when you leave the city with the army goes into the genitive because it's the genitive of military accompaniment. So yeah.
That's exciting.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you. Yeah.
And Sasha's
anyway.
like, please bring the conversation back to Idle Champions. Right, Sasha?
No, I imagine quite a few people are like, they're interested, but
not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dark Dragon is asking about our merch for the shirt size. Are they limited by for fans by fans, or is it limited by C&E? They typically buy all shirts.
Yeah, what for fans by fans made is what exists.
Okay.
So basically, should I? I'm just debating whether I should get into this topic or not. We can't print shirts that we can sell because we are a digital licensee, not a physical product licensee. Only a physical product licensee that makes shirts like for fans by fans can do that. So we're not really a part of any of it. Like they make the shirts. And mouse pads and whatever else they had. So it really just doesn't have anything to do with us at all.
I'm sorry, Dark Dragon.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently it wasn't Sasha, it was Boss Man. So,
Oh.
The more we know.
Do.
Yeah,
so, how would you rate The Good Place at this point?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's actually really well done for philosophy. It's fantastic. And they actually brought on an ethicist to work with the screenwriters to make sure that they got all the philosophy right.
Cool. I mean, I love the show. It was one of the things I watched while I was on my month of paternity leave, pat leave. Although I watched a season a night. Because I'm like up all night. Yeah, so I watched the first season one night, and then the second season the next night, and all the way up to and then Catherine had already watched the first 3 seasons, but not the 4th, and so we watched the 4th one.
Nice.
Yeah. Tears. God, what an emotional show once it got far into it.
Yeah. But
very well done though.
Apparently, also related to The Good Place, but not actually The Good Place, but related to board games. I heard that there is the Trolley Game board game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that could
I just love the part at the end once. I don't want to spoil too much of The Good Place, but when there's like a class teaching the trolley game, they're like, "Bring your raincoats." You're just like, "Oh, it was so good."
Yeah.
God, that episode was funny. I laughed so bloody hard at that.
It's like, oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh man, that one and the Janet's episode where everybody's a Janet. Those are great.
Yes.
Yeah. Not that there weren't lots of great episodes, but those ones really stood out for me.
Oh, apparently we have a couple of people who studied philosophy here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, someone someone has their PhD in philosophy. So, no chat.
Oh, wow.
So.
Apparently this person has their doctorate and knows the person who was a part of the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Awesome.
Quit spoiling The Good Place.
Place.
I mean,
Yeah.
The Good Place is a beautiful, wonderful, amazing experience of a show. And I highly recommend it to everybody. Yeah. Check it out. And shit, you could even watch the, what do you call it? They had like a talk show after the last episode aired where they had the cast. And so if you really want some emotional closure to the show, you can see them talking to each other about how much they loved working together and all that stuff. Because it was
a really
intense.
good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. Yeah. I didn't really care for Michael Schur's other shows, but I like that one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like Kristen Bell, so.
Yeah, did you watch Veronica Mars?
Yes, of course.
What did you think of the new season that they did like last year?
Feels a little weird, but like, I really liked Veronica Mars when it came out, and it's sort of one of those when a new version comes out, I'm kind of like, how do I? It kind of goes back to Star Wars, where it's like you can't relive the like nostalgia.
The version of it that you saw before. Yeah.
The version of it that you saw before, and your excitement then. So I try not to let that taint it, but.
I was so pissed at the narrative decisions they made in the new season. I was like, that was some cheap bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, what a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And I could see why their fans were so mad, because I was just like, I was kind of annoyed. Like, and I don't normally get annoyed at shows. I was like, what the? But Kristen Bell is so killer in that role, and her chemistry with the guy who plays her dad is amazing. So, always really liked Veronica Mars.
We have some more questions. Has a decision been made about the collection screen yet? Last I asked, it was a topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a topic of discussion.
Yeah.
There are devs who want it to not exist at all.
Yes. I've heard that.
Yeah. So
like,
I don't know how
away.
it's going to turn out. It's an interesting thing. So I remember that part of the thought behind it was that your equipment slots are only ever upgraded, and so the idea of a collection screen is kind of antithetical to the way the game is played, because you can't go back and use other pieces of equipment, like lower ones. You can only use the highest one that you have, and so having a collection doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
But it's there and
because
it's pretty, and we want it to be full. It's there and it's pretty, and they want it to be full.
And so when you see a collection screen and you've got everything except one slot, like, I, like many of you, that bothers me on the inside in a way that it's like a wound that never heals.
It's just there.
Yeah, I get it. And there is like there are narrative tidbits like stuck into the quotes on each of the pieces too, right? Especially the stuff that like we worked with content creators to embody their character, and so they wrote some of that stuff. And so if you really like that character, there tends to be hidden or not so hidden information in them that is relevant to something that you care about. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion. I know I would personally like to see one on all platforms, but I understand that that's a lot of work to add it to where it isn't, basically. That sounds bad. What a bad sentence. I'm a bad English speaker. Don't listen to me. Yeah.
I disagree. I listen to you.
You listen to me? Okay. But no, you don't disagree that I'm a bad English speaker.
No. I just
You're like,
well, I think...
I'm fluent in this many languages, and he barely gets through one.
No, that's not at all it. It's I find it interesting because the way that native speakers of language speak their language versus the way that it's taught is often quite different. And a lot of, like, when I had language exams, some of the most difficult instructions I would receive are translate literally with respect to English idiom. And it's kind of like, well, do you want me to translate it literally or idiomatically? And yeah.
I just think of The Simpsons and like Bart going up to volunteer to be the orphan that Mr. Burns adopts, that he'll give his fortune to, and he's reading off a card, and it's like just broken English, and he's just kind of like frustratingly getting through it, and then the Homer's like, "Ooh, he card reads good," and that was the thing that first popped into my mind. So, thank you, The Simpsons, for possibly having a dramatic impact on my sense of humor and how I talk and feel.
And possibly predicting the future.
Yeah, still in fail English. That's impossible.
Visible.
Another Simpsons quote.
Oh, so there are some requests for a Boo coloring sheet.
A Boo coloring sheet.
More familiars.
Yeah, I mean, so
we've got the baby spurt.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the familiars is that like the champions, the way that they're drawn in the game.
Yeah.
We can take the Illustrator files and blow them up and turn them into line art in a way that makes them still look good. The familiars are significantly more simple because they're so tiny, because like we didn't make them that detailed because of how small they are, that blowing them up, we're not sure how much fidelity they'll have. So it's,
but maybe
I think there will be familiar ones at some point
of like,
yeah, so we've talked about doing them. There probably will be some, but yeah, they are look real different, but maybe that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can add detail.
More detail.
Boo isn't a familiar, Boo is a champion, and Minsk is only the mount. This is true. Yeah.
There's one skin for Minsk that it looks like he's wearing a giant space hamster skin, and I'm like, I feel uncomfortable about Minsk wearing that.
No, it's Minsk will only cosplay as his hero.
Okay.
And so he's cosplaying as Boo, and then Boo has got his little furry head painted like Minsk. Yeah, I thought that was one of the most
I think it's really cool.
Did.
It really reminds me of Hercules, because like he's always got the lion skin, and then I'm like, why did he skin Boo? Why did he skin giant Boo? And that's what makes me uncomfortable. But yeah. And there is also a question from HY about updating the semicircle of bus and health on
in the UI.
Yes.
Yeah, when the game was more simple, it was really easy to discern everything there. And as the game has grown and evolved, it has become a little bit less adequate for its needs. That's also an ongoing discussion with the devs, given that it's actually a really significant undertaking to change or update that system. And so it's something we're considering, but that we haven't committed to doing. Hamsters eat their young, so they aren't all innocent.
Okay. Yep. And then chest access when not in a quest is something that was quite popular request as well.
I'm sorry, chest access what?
When not in a quest.
Oh, when not in a quest. Oh, so you mean for the main map screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing in that, like, the way that we thought to put the game together versus the way that players end up playing it and how they look at it and approach it. I don't know that we were planning to do anything like that, because like you can't access the patrons, you can't access chests or your inventories or your champion screens or anything like that. When you're on the map select, you need to be in an adventure, and then from there you access everything. So I don't know that we're going to change that.
No.
Yeah. Caro are asking if we'll make the enemies socially distant.
So to see the tank's health, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, and so like the visibility of tank health has been something that has been talked about basically since the game came out. And it became a little bit more important when we reached the point where you're getting to areas where the bosses get enraged stacks and like more and more enemies pile up.
Yeah, it's you can't tell how healthy your tank is doing.
Yeah. So yeah. It's something that I don't think we've found an ideal outcome for yet, or an ideal way to do something about it that we really like, and so we haven't decided to move forward with anything related to it. there's a bunch of different proposed ideas. But yeah, I don't want to get into any like the behind the scenes discussion on it, because I don't want players to think that we're going to go with one idea or another or anything like that. It's just kind of can create
but I can
problems.
Answer Dogberry99's question that we will be looking at in-game chat for its stability.
Good.
Because, yeah, that's the thing we do.
Grimshar has won the giveaway. Congratulations, Grimshar.
Congratulations.
Grimshar.
And Michael USA would like me to welcome PR13, who joined recently. Welcome. I'm curious what Grimshar is going to take for chests. I'm always curious what people choose.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get to choose whatever they want, right? So, I don't know. It depends on what they need.
Yeah.
Supply chests are always a good choice. More supply chests.
450 supply chests.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can open up another window and start messing with your inventory.
No! Really? Are you going to do that?
Yeah. Well, I know your email and stuff, so yeah, I can find your account.
Yeah, my account's not hard to find.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
No.
No? Okay. Twitchy1 is asking, this is a borderline mobile phablet game, yet still a PC game on Steam. Is there a plan to take this game more in either direction, hopefully more mobile? I'd say.
Sorry, what was the question? I was looking up your account.
Thanks, Dylan. Are we planning on leaning more into mobile or PC? And we're
leaning into how? I'm not sure I understand.
Like, are we planning on taking the game into more of a mobile direction?
Oh,
no,
I'm not sure what more of a mobile direction means.
We're not the friendliest on mobile.
Yeah, I mean, our UI was never designed with mobile screens in mind.
Yeah.
Especially since mobile screen sizes actually varies pretty wildly. There's a huge range. First and foremost, this game started as a game on Steam, and that's where the bulk of our players are. And so anything we do is going to be focused on where the bulk of our players are first.
Yes.
So, does that answer your question enough?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Twitchy1? Yeah. But
they want me to take away all your Havilar dresses.
And Sean's currently warning you that that I'll have to reload my game if you do anything to it.
It's true. I know.
Yeah.
I'd have to sneak this in at a different time. While she's aware of it isn't the way to do it.
I thought the entire reason that you and Sean did this just to see my reaction.
I mean, you do react well. There's that.
Like, I know it's one of those things that's like, it's one of those signs that like, I'm actually okay with this, is if I allow myself to have a reaction, because if I go poker face, that's when I'm like, I hate my life here. So, yeah. And Erica's commiserating with me, but, Our Green Paradox, what is the coloring sheet bonus silver chests this week? It is the baby spurt, so more spurt is more silver chests for spurt.
I like Spurt.
Yeah.
Spurt's a good champion.
He's fun. He's very quiet.
Memorable. Didn't do a lot. It's funny. So
he's Cobalt. Very popular.
Yeah, it was so much easier to stay on top of Critical Role when there weren't so many episodes already in the campaign. But like Catherine and I were watching it for the first 60 episodes or so before we started not always being able to make it, and then you start getting behind and you're like, oh god, I have 3 episodes to catch up on, and that's 15 hours, and like you just kind of keep falling back. And I remember that episode being one where like Catherine had already gone to bed or was doing something else, and I was sitting there and like I was getting tired, and it was up until that point such a slow episode. Like you know, they're in their cavern system. It's kind of like the Underdark, but not actually the Underdark. And it's just kind of like, it was a dry episode up until that point, and then like it just injected so much life into it to have Chris Perkins like suddenly sit at the table playing a kobold that they had come across, and he was so funny, and like it woke me right up and everybody else, and like it just reinvigorated the table. And then he immediately gets killed, and like basically starts the encounter for the episode. And then in that episode, they kind of lucked out. Like, I thought for sure Knot was going to die there, but anyways, it was a really it turned that episode around, because up until that point, it was just I don't know if everybody was tired when they were playing or what, but I was tired, and I was like dozing off up until that point, and then it was so funny. And then there's like all these like little animations of it, like my favorite one is like this, like what looks like a little hand-drawn one where they've replaced and put all the characters in with the voiceover. It's so good. Yeah. Anyways, that was memorable. There's some other really memorable stuff too, but yeah, I haven't managed to keep up with the campaign much since.
Well, now's the time to catch up.
Well, see, when I wasn't keeping up, I didn't have a child, and now I do.
Yeah. How is Willow doing?
She's doing. Yeah.
Awesome.
She's not letting us sleep as much this week.
I'm sorry to hear
that.
Yeah. Most Ginger Pet is asking when will we get the next set of level ups for champions. I'm assuming that means the
soft cap increase. We just did one. We're not planning on doing another one soon.
One came with the spring extravaganza major update. So there will be more soft cap increases, but we're not planning one not super
soon. Yeah, they changed actually quite a bit of the game. You know, like all of a sudden there's quite a few more areas you can progress through, and it also quickly makes things that used to be hard significantly less difficult. So you know, there's it's something that we're not in a rush to do. There will be more. There might even be more this year, but
spoilers, Dylan.
I said there might. Chris. Yeah, it's true. Hey, I didn't announce any champions years before they came out. Or did I? Was I there that episode? You know what? I was probably on the show with him, so it's also my fault. Yeah. No, I didn't stop him. I didn't just grab him and like, no, Chris.
No,
cover his mouth.
No.
Yeah. What are you doing? You can't promise that. You're supposed to be the chosen one.
What have you done?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I think... No, Chris and I on stream together is dangerous, because then it's like, oh, you're going to spoil that? We're not going to spoil this.
Yeah, competitive spoiling is a new event. That is, it's real interesting. Yeah. Anyways,
So there was a bug where the backward walking enemies are moonwalking.
I know that we fixed that, but has that gone out yet?
It hasn't gone out yet, but it's
going to go. It's coming with the build then. Yeah. I know that we fixed the bug relatively quickly, but you're supposed to ping balance the promises. See, somebody's getting my Star Wars. Speaking of Star Wars, is anybody else watching the last season of the Clone Wars, or is it just me?
Just you, Dylan. You're the only person watching it.
Oh man, it's so good. The last 4 episodes, I suspect they're going to release the last 4 episodes as like a movie or something, because the jump in quality, and then like the change in like the quality of music and stuff that they use, like kind of goes like up to a new level for the last few, and it also overlaps with the events of episode 3. So it's seriously amazing if you are a Star Wars fan. But yeah, highly recommend. Second to last episode tomorrow, and then the last episode on Monday.
I do like Star Wars, but it's always one of those things that I'm not as much of a fan as other people, so it's kind of like
That's fair.
I enjoy
wouldn't
it,
call
but
myself like a hardcore fan in the sense that like I don't remember the names of background characters or their races or really care about any of that stuff. But I do like being entertained by Star Wars, and I've watched a lot of the stuff. And I would say that the Clone Wars show that they made a movie, like a cartoon movie that was not good. And then they started the show off of that, and like it didn't start good either. And I kind of just had it on in the background while I was doing stuff because I used to do contract work from home. And so I kind of like went through the first season. I was like, I could take it or leave it. But around the second season, it starts getting really, really good and starts doing a far better job of articulating Anakin's growth as both as a Jedi and then at his gradual shift towards becoming more and more like a Sith Lord. Well, it's not even that actually. It's just like you see how his mentality changes over the course of the show because he's still very naive, but very ultimately like good aligned at the start. But he has spent all of his formative years as a general at war, and the stuff that works for him, that shows him more success tends to be the more Sithy, easy route type decisions that he makes. And like you just see his shift way better over the course of the show.
That's good.
So that if you do get around to watching all the Clone Wars, his switch to Darth Vader in the third movie makes a lot of sense because they've put it all in there. Like all of everything that happens to him that challenges him over how emotional a person he is and how much he connects with others and cares about them. All the stuff that the Jedi warn him against is thoroughly explained and explored over the course of the show, while at the same time you see his Padawan's journey and like her as a character, she starts off kind of obnoxious but is amazing by the end of it, and like super excited that she's going to be in the Mandalorian. Like you have no idea. But like also you see all of Anakin's decisions measured up against the other Jedi, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who you find out that there were people that he cared about almost enough to leave the Jedi Order and all this stuff, but like you see how he managed to distance himself emotionally from all this stuff. And so you see how their paths lead to where they are in a way that you just didn't in the movies, because the movies were, let's be honest, not that well written or directed. So at least the prequel trilogy wasn't. So yeah, it was fantastic. And Rebels was pretty darn good too after the first season. Rosario Dawson allegedly being Ahsoka Tano. It was like half confirmed. So I suspect on Monday we're going to get that confirmation because it'll be May the 4th.
May the 4th, yes. That's Monday.
That is Monday.
Time is very elastic right now.
Yeah, I know,
feels
right?
like
so many days don't even feel like days anymore. Like,
yeah. It's March was simultaneously 6 years ago and yesterday. It's the end of April.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because like we did I had my month off of work for baby, and like I came back and I was back for a week and a bit before I was back at home. And like even worse, Catherine was like just reaching like the 6 weeks of recovery time where like she has recovered enough to start doing things and didn't get to start it. Didn't get to leave, didn't get to meet up with friends, like none of that shit. So so she's been in isolation even longer, really.
It's been a time. Do you have any plans for this weekend?
This weekend? No. So normally I DM a D&D game on Saturdays, but we're taking this week off. So no, what we do, I just tend to, because it's the weekend and I'm not working, I tend to take Willow first thing in the morning and try to keep her as long as I can so that Catherine can sleep uninterrupted for the morning, ideally. And then like we do all of our like FaceTime calls with our family and stuff like that, because obviously we don't get to see them otherwise. So yeah. And they always remark on how much she's grown because, hey, she's literally more than twice the size she was born at now. So yeah.
About the moonwalking enemies,
Oh.
They want a new variant where some enemies woundwalk and take less or no damage.
We should do that for
Okay.
April Fool's one
Yeah.
year, is just have the enemies backwards and the birds upside down again. Because that was hilarious. That was such a weird bug, but like all of our distractions were just upside down.
Yeah.
For no reason that we understood or knew at the time. Like we fixed it, but it was just like, what? But that would make a good, yeah. Or like, or the, this would be an even better April Fool's, is we just flip the game upside down completely.
Oh.
UI, characters, everything.
That seems really frustrating.
I know, right? It's funny, but it's only
Yeah.
funny to us, like the bees
Yeah.
thing.
Jeez.
I still like the bees thing. I still think that's funny.
But apparently it wasn't as funny as we thought it was.
No, players did not think it's funny. And like, in fairness to them,
Yeah.
when everything is a bee, you're like, I don't understand. Like, you can't tell what anything is. Like, I get that it's not funny, but it's still funny, you know? Makes me think of the line from The Incredibles where, like, if everybody's
Who's
super,
better?
nobody is.
Nobody
Yeah.
is.
So if everybody's a bee, like, nothing matters. You're all bees. Yeah. Anyways.
Yep. Griddle Champions tomorrow with Sean, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
I started doing like fancy breakfasts on Friday mornings because I'm like,
Oh, yeah?
I'm not gonna watch. Yeah, like I didn't like 3 weeks ago I did a lemon blueberry pancakes, and then 2 weeks ago I did like a Dutch style pancakes where you put like you put things into the batter with like bacon and apples.
Oh, okay.
And then last week I did crepes with mushrooms and cheese. That was really good. I'm starting to run out of pancakes a little bit. I think I'm gonna do cinnamon buns tomorrow.
So like,
Yeah.
do you spend your week planning your Friday morning food, or?
I plan a lot of my meals because I don't like getting into the kitchen at the end of the day and being like, I don't know what I'm making. So I try to like plan things
That's
to
fair.
make it 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And then buy all their stuff for them because, yeah, I find I get really grumpy when I'm hungry. So, and not the greatest at making decisions in those. So I'm like, if I plan out what I'm eating, it's a lot better.
Hanger is legit. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, no, my hanger is a.
I had a career in hospitality where I ended up being a sous chef for a while, and so like I am very particular about how I operate in the kitchen, and I don't really like having other people around me. And also the kitchen in the place that I'm in, like I have an enormous place, but the kitchen was an afterthought, so it's really tiny, and so it's hard to have more than one person in it effectively doing anything. But I do basically all of the cooking in this household, so I'm always cooking something. Yeah.
Jothe is suggesting HelloFresh. Like, I know that's a thing, but I like my own cooking, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, they'll do grocery delivery, I think,
Yeah.
too. There's a lot of different ways. We're lucky in that right now because Catherine's mother's husband qualifies as, as old enough to do the like go to the grocery store early thing. And so they pick up our groceries at like 7 a.m. on Fridays, and they drop it off here by like 8 o'clock because
Nice.
there's nobody in the grocery store at 7 a.m. Because the lineup hasn't started for all the people who aren't in the high risk category. So it's weird not getting groceries because I actually kind of like shopping for groceries because I will make a better choice of my fruits and vegetables than somebody else will for me.
Fair.
Because I spent a lot of time working with them, and I could tell when my avocados are going to go off or whatever. This isn't a complaint anyways. It's like profoundly generous of her to be doing this for us. But it's also weird. I actually kind of enjoy grocery shopping. I enjoy going to the farmers markets and picking all my veggies and fruits and stuff to
Miss
take
farmers
home.
markets.
Yeah, I miss that a lot actually.
This is gonna sound really bad, but whenever I go to the grocery store, I'm finding I panic buy way too much of one thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that why you ended up with so many potatoes?
It was onions.
Oh, it was onions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly why I was like, "Ooh, they have onions. I can buy a bunch." And then it's like, that's 4 kilos of onions.
Yeah.
I'm making onion soup.
Yeah.
And then
One good thing about onions is if you can dice them and freeze diced onions.
Oh, I used them up. I made French onion soup.
Yeah.
It was a good call.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's like one of the best things you can do with onions. Yeah.
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 I mean, we do a crazy amount of like avocado toast and stuff like that right now, just because it's so quick and easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, I'm gonna do a chicken fried rice tonight, actually, with
nice.
like bok choy and cabbage and carrots and onions. Yeah, it'll be good. That'll be tasty.
Really nice. I'm doing a sort of a Thai style curry with coconut rice.
Ooh, yeah, I love coconut rice. Do you do your rice from start to finish in coconut milk, or do you add it partway through, or how do you do it?
I do it half coconut milk, half water, start to finish.
Okay, and do you do it in Instant Pot, or do you like do like a slow boil and do it more like a risotto or something?
Just on a stovetop.
Okay, that's a good way to do it. I've been learning how to best do like rices and quinoas in the Instant Pot just to get it like exactly the way I want it, which requires some trial and error. But finally got quinoa to the point where it's really fluffy. And when I like turn the pot upside down, every grain of it comes out and like falls, and it's just like it's all perfectly cooked. And it took a while. I burnt some quinoa to that pot a few times.
Trial and error.
But the rice actually that you picked up for me, I have to do completely differently. Because I normally do jasmine rice, and like that's what the pot is kind of keyed for. So you just hit the rice button and it'll do it. But you have to soak Japanese rice for a longer period of time, and then you have to do slightly different ratios and pressure cook it differently, and it's just
it's a little different. What's your favorite fancy breakfast?
My favorite fancy breakfast. So there used to be a place in Victoria called Ferris Upstairs, which I think still exists, but it used to do brunches on Saturdays and Sundays, and it doesn't anymore, and it hasn't for a long time. And they had a Eggs Benedict there called the Weekend Crossword that was creamed leeks, prosciutto, and what else? Creamed leeks, prosciutto, and something else. And it was like maybe it was chanterelle mushrooms or something like that. Anyways, it was like easily the most delicious eggs benny I'd ever had. And eventually that place stopped existing. And so I got real sad. When I make eggs at home, I almost always do scrambled eggs, just because that's what Catherine likes the most. Like I did eggs for lunch the other day, and it was scrambled eggs that were scrambled with a like salt and pepper and other spices and stuff like that, and some shredded Parmesan cheese just to get a little bit of a nicer consistency to the eggs. And then I did what were essentially avocado grilled cheese toasts to put it on, so that And I don't know, I mean, I like to use up the ingredients that are in my fridge. So like, a couple weeks ago, I did it with leftover ham from my my Easter ham, because I did a Easter ham that was that I glazed and marinated in a mix of maple syrup, Japanese whiskey, brown sugar, and like a really fresh stone ground seed mustard.
Oh, nice.
And it was seriously good. But the ham that Catherine's mom had picked up for us was like hilariously enormous, like dinner party sized ham for the two of us. And so like we ended up eating like maybe a quarter of it for dinner and putting a quarter of it in the fridge, and then like the rest of it I like portioned out and froze, and I started using that for my breakfast and stuff, and it was awesome. And I made a really killer like pork fried rice out of it at one point too.
Awesome.
I ate a lot of Asian food. Anyways, this is not about video games.
Not about video games. Owen's asking for a bee familiar. That might...
A bee familiar? That's actually possible.
That's actually possible.
Yeah.
We'll bring that to...
And we've already created the bee. Like, it's already done. The art is done.
The art is done.
Yeah. We should do it, and we should just put like a little hat on it or something.
Oh.
to change it up. Maybe it's wearing a hat that's like a beholder hat, so it's got a little hat on it that's got little eye stalks sticking off.
Oh, that would be really cute. I like that.
Yeah. Give it away and make it a freebie? Oh no, that's too much. We want. That's funny though. I'll give you. That's a funny joke. So I appreciate that. Blasphemer 2016. Yeah, freebie. Yeah.
And Garwar is asking, are we both going to vote for the final name for the Friday stream? And if not, do you have a name hoping wins?
So there were three names. It was what? It was Garwar's Zone of Truth, Garwar's Experience Points, and Garwar's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions. I think those were the three names that are being voted between. I like Garwar's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions, even though it's a ridiculously long name.
I like it. I don't like it considering that I have to write social about it, and I'm not even sure if that fits into a tweet.
Just do #Garwar. That'll be fine.
GG2E. Okay.
Yeah, but it's also got Garwar's Guide in it.
Yeah.
Which I like because all of Garwar's guides are called Garwar's Guides.
Yeah.
Zone of Truth. I like it, but it also sounds like it's called it's like a podcast or something. Like
I feel like Garward would like initiate us into a cult at that point. It's like
Garwar's Zone of Truth. Behold your Lord Garwar.
Yeah.
So that and experience points is good too. But I think I definitely lean towards Garwar's Guide to Everything. I mean, I'm half tempted to be like just Garwar's Guide. Isn't that already what it is? Garwar's Guide to Idle Champions or Garwar's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions, but yeah. So if you're starting a cult, consider me in. I don't like Kool-Aid though, so
please no Kool-Aid.
I'll drink the culty whiskey, and
only if we get nice robes.
Yeah, your choice of robe is definitely it's either a non-starter or it'll be the right cult for us.
Ooh, and Giant Dwarf is requesting
Garwar's Compendium of Abject Failures and Wisdom.
Ooh,
it's a good name. I like it.
Yeah. Plain robes, no fancy dresses.
Yeah. Plain robes.
Talk to me about your robes here, though.
Yeah. I just think of that Portlandia where they joined the cult because Jason Sudeikis is in it and he's so charming. Did you see that one? Have you watched Portlandia?
I haven't seen that episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's in. Okay. Anyways, I haven't watched a lot of Portlandia. It's probably in the first season, but they're these really obnoxious people going to a restaurant, basically. The characters in it, and like they're just asking way too many annoying questions about like how did the chicken live that they're going to order to eat and all this stuff, and they're like, we're just going to go check for ourselves, and they get up and they leave the table and they go to the farm, and then the farm is actually a farm run by a cult, and they both fall in love with the guy who runs the cult, and they end up there for years until he eventually dies, and then they kind of snap out of it and they go back to the restaurant. They're like, we're going to get something else. But anyways, super funny.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know Critical Role characters and Wildmount adventures are off the table, but are the subclasses okay as official content? Basically, is there a possibility for an Echo Knight in the future? So Echo Knight is my favorite of the three subclasses that are in that book, or the three brand new subclasses, because it's such a really interesting flavor for a fighter. All this like combat battlefield control that you can do by being able to teleport between echoes and all this stuff is neat. And it's not just freakishly powerful like the wizard ones are. I don't know how good the chances are of that. It's still very much a Critical Role thing that is very much not a Forgotten Realms thing. So I don't know what the chances are. Bladed Dragon.
Zeke is asking, you've said that the Critical Role cast is too busy to get any of their characters in the game, but what are the chances of any other guest characters like what Spurt was? Kellyanna would be a cool addition since she'll do work with high rollers, and Mark's guest character was awesome.
What can I say about that? I mean, I think people should keep their expectations tempered around anything related to characters like that. Some guest characters are owned by Critical Role, some guest characters are owned by the guests. And there's a lot to navigate behind the scenes related to all of that. So, put simply, if the opportunity arose that we could have a character like Kaliana, you know, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, I don't know how possible it is.
There's a lot there.
Dagny from Force Grey. Yeah, Dagny Halvor is a character that we could potentially add. All the Force Grey characters from both seasons, with the exception of one, are owned by D&D/Wizards. So Dagny Halvor and Joppa and the other ones are all potential characters. So Thunder's asking about the hidden combinations. I'm not actually currently familiar or up to date with how many you guys have found. So I'm not sure how it's going. I know that a few of them were really, really difficult. So I'm not sure how many are left. Last I checked, players had guessed a couple of the wrong champions as being included. There are 7 remaining. Okay. I mean, we're not even halfway through the year, so...
Yeah.
You know.
There were 40. There are now 7.
Yeah, I think, 5 or 10 of them were probably discovered in the first, hour.
Yeah.
And so...
It's...
So if there's only 7 left, I think that's not bad. I would have to look up to see which ones are left to see how difficult they are, because some of them are just they're all tied to these characters, right? But without knowing which characters, sometimes you get them wrong. There are some assumptions made about which characters are the ones that are there. So there's that. You see, I'm starting to talk about it. I'm going to start getting into spoilers, so I'm going to stop. If there's only 7 left, that's good. We will certainly put out hints for the remainder by the end of the year.
For sure. It's just, and if we're missing a code at December 20th, then the hints will get pretty blatant because yeah. But as I've discovered already, no, for this stream's hidden code, the last one I don't think has been discovered, but I'll say it's 3 words.
You should charades it, actually. Just charades it, yeah.
For sure.
Just had 40 more codes. I wasn't planning on doing more hidden combinations this year.
Oh no, I'm gonna do my evil list.
Oh, you're evil? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Eat, pray, scorpion? What?
Yeah. So.
Somebody was asking whether it's lawyers or IP owners that decide yay or nay when we ask. That would be an oversimplification of discussion behind the scenes, and I really can't get into it. There's a lot to it. It's also the community is a small community that we're all a part of, and that we all coexist in together, and we've all worked with each other on different things and all this different stuff. So
and we don't want anyone to have bad feelings.
Yeah, no bad feelings, no bad experiences. Just not gonna get into it at all. I know. I understand fully that it's probably a subject that all members of our audience would find very interesting, but it's just not one we can get into.
Yeah. Just happy little champions. Exactly, Sean.
Yeah.
On that note, it's 5-2. I'll wrap us up so that our lovely D&D mods can switch over to the regular programming. That's the thing. So that's our show for Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Thank you for joining us today and participating in the Idle Champions and Dungeons & Dragons communities. You are all awesome. The show exists because of a number of amazing people behind the scenes, including our co-producer, Erica, as well as Sasha, and as well as our partners at Dungeons & Dragons, Greg, Bart, Pelham, Allison, Shalling, and Lisa. Take care, champions, and see you tomorrow for Griddle Champions.
Rock on.
Bye, all.